Let's threaten the person on sick leave. I was working in a plastic factory a few years back. The machinery I was working on mostly did plastic for hay bales. The group I was in consisted of 4 people including me. And 2 of them did close to nothing while me and this really old dude had to do their part too. Every day. I was working 6 days a week doing the job of 3 people and one time I overslept and when the manager called me I quickly drove to work and was approximately 15 minutes late. The old dude retired and I was left with the 2 guys that left the site constantly to do God knows what, and one time the robot that usually does the packaging didn't get the plastic roll in its package and I went to put it in. When you enter the area the robot is working and the sensors immediately stop the robot. The robot for some reason suddenly started moving and punched the back of my right hand and it was crushed. I got an ambulance to her and I got 1 month of sick leave, and when I went to turn it in my boss jumped. I explained to him that my hand also has nerve damage and I left to play Witcher. 4 days into the sick leave my boss calls me and tells me that if I don't get back to work earlier he would have to reconsider extending my contract, and after stuttering a bit I told him I understood. And that was the end of the call. I went back the next week and when I got to my machines the orders that we had before my sick leave were still ongoing and hadn't made almost any progress. I walked through the cafeteria into the office area and told my boss I changed my mind and I am gonna quit, which made him really angry. Told I am good luck with the important person order and made my leave. The huge factory is next to a bunch of really small towns and the word spread about the case and no one would fill my or the old Mons positions and they had to close the part I was working in. Here in the UK, a factory robot activated during maintenance due to defeated, removed safety measures, killing a worker performing maintenance. The company and its owner were separately convicted of manslaughter. The company was fined £700,000 and the owner was sentenced to 5 years in prison. I hope you sued the company. And this is why we don't rely on sensors. Lock out, tag out, discharge stored energy, and only then enter a robot. You're lucky it was just a hand injury. People are killed doing what you did. Never quit. Have them fire you and then sue for wrongful dismissal. The threat to non-renew due to injury was probably illegal. Since you were working on their premises, you were covered by workman's comp insurance or business liability. Should cover lost wages and medical costs until recovered, with your employment contract extended for the recovery period. I never understand the logic of these types of managers. You're short-handed and struggling. So the answer is to threaten the one person who's doing the work. So when they get fed up or call your bluff and leave, where does that leave you? Nice story, but not exactly malicious compliance. You came back to work, then quit. Good for you. I would also have made reports to OSHA for critical violations. I've worked with plastics equipment and sensors malfunctioning that way usually means there's a critical lack of important routine maintenance and it's not a safe work environment if employee safety measures are being neglected or disabled to the point where they will not stop when sensors are triggered. Crush injuries rarely happen when sensors are functioning properly and proper lockout-tagout measures are applied as standard operating procedure. And OSHA will check machine maintenance logs for things like heavy equipment, forklifts, and automatic pallet jacks. I hope you also got a hefty amount from workers' comp and you should consider legal action for their threats and demands that you return before your injury was healed if you have the means to do so. When I worked plastics we had an employee who had a crush injury working with a slide mold for plastic injection molding and she crushed 3 fingers manually lubricating the slide while the Machine was properly locked out. It was human error technically. But she still received a large chunk of compensation and time off because the mold wasn't maintained properly and wouldn't have needed frequent manual lubrication if it had been taken apart and cleaned to regular standard. We finally got a mold maintenance department after that. Lockout tagout not available for this machine. Automatic sensors are not reliable as cutting off power and locking the switch with notification. This type of thing is why lawyers exist. I don't know where you are, but in the US, it's highly illegal to threaten someone's job due to an on-the-job injury. What happened to the other 2 people? I had a machine do something similar. Found out the operators kept letting it jam up and kick a safety cover open. So a lazy maintenance guy bypassed the safety cover switch. I fixed the switch. Next shift they did it again. Then it jammed and broke apart, which I refused to fix until the culprit repaired the safety, shutting down the production run. This place is not safe to work for. Your employer should have established a lockout tagout policy in order to ensure that you are not allowed to reach into the dangerous area without deactivating the machine entirely. Nerve damage? Couldn't you sue? They can't touch the 2 untouchables. That's probably the future CEO, VPs collecting work creds for their resumes that they started from the bottom working their way up. Yeah, right. Damn, this makes me nervous. I started a job 3 months ago operating robots that stack boxes on pallets. One of the robots is designed to pick up boxes that don't use tape. It looks like a fork bent at a 90-degree angle. The sensors stop when the door is open, which happens hundreds of times per shift because we have to manually place cardboard slip sheets between each layer, and there are 3 conveyor lines going to that robot. Almost every time I'm in there I think about those forks impaling me. With such a fallout, I would have written the next higher-up that you would consider returning to work. But, enter manager's name, has created a work environment that is unbearable. They will rather fire a manager than lose a department. Where's the malicious compliance? You just quit. Workers' comp claims adjuster here. What state is this and when did you file for workers' compensation? Why didn't you talk to an attorney? You need a lawyer to represent your interests in your hand injury.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Errorcast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.